Ja, meine sehr verehrten
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
sehr geehrte Abgeordnete des Deutschen
dear
Bundestages,
members of the German Bundestag and the European Parliament, dear members of the German government, excellencies,
liebe Freunde der
dear friends of the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation, I would like to welcome you very cordially on behalf of the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation to this year's Tiergarten Conference 2022. This is an international conference of the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation, and of course, such a conference needs to focus on the topic Zeitenwende. The brutal war of aggression of Russia against Ukraine marks a turning point, a caesura in Europe and for Europe, but at the same time it also marks a turn of an era. The rule-based global order, which was laid out after the Second World War, has been damaged severely. The West is united as never before. However, the global reactions to this war of aggression, which violates international law, are less clear. In the global South, there is some skepticism. People shy away from a clear positioning, be it out of concern of the global impact of the war in the form of increasing or raising food prices, supply chains at risk, or an unsecure energy supply, or be it out of distrust against the West. For example, due to a lack of solidarity during the pandemic, or double standards when it comes to military interventions of the West in the past. We, as the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation, clearly see this in our global network in many ways, and we also discuss this with our global partners. For German politics, it's quite clear since February the 24th, we cannot proceed as usual as we did before. So at the Zeitenwende, we are at the beginning of a new era. This is why we chose the title of our conference. This means we have to ask questions that are not only immediately connected to the war, but go beyond that. How can Germany assume a greater responsibility for the order on the European continent and also its neighborhoods, and thus also comply to the expectations of our neighbors? What are the instruments that are needed for this shaping role? How can we strengthen multilateralism and reform our institutions in a way so that they are more efficient and more resilient? What security architecture is needed to do so, and how can we transform our economy and our society in a way so that we become more independent of autocratic systems, and at the same time we maintain our social balance? A critical assessment, a critical review is needed, not only in terms of politics and civil society, but also for the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation and our approaches in our work. German politics has reacted quite quickly to the Russian invasion with a special fund for the German armed forces. And this was one of the very important reactions and responses. But a Zeitenwende can not only be dealt with new equipment and a modernization of the armed forces. Of course, we also need actions right here and now, and we want to fully support Ukraine, but we also have to deal with the Zeitenwende in the medium term. We need political strategies and ideas. We need a broader set of instruments and a broader political approach. This is why we are very happy that at the beginning of our conference, the chairman of the Social Democrats in Germany, Lars Klingbeil, will present us his ideas in a keynote. And at this point, I would like to welcome you very cordially, dear Lars Klingbeil. And afterwards, we will discuss with many renowned experts from politics and science in order to debate what the Zeitenwende means for us in Europe and for our global partnerships. Where do we share ideas and where do we have to bridge differences? I'd also like to welcome very cordially all the panelists, all those who provide an input, all moderators. And now, at this point, I would also like to thank the great team of the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation, which has organized this conference in such a short period of time with such a high level participants. So I would like to thank you for that in advance.
Die Welt ist in rasantem Wandel.
The world is undergoing a rapid change. The values of the Social Democrats have not changed despite the Zeitenwende. We are standing up for freedom, justice and solidarity. At the national and the international work of the Friedrich-Ebert Foundation, we represent democracy, human rights and multilateralism. How these ideals can be safeguarded under the new framework conditions is the major question, the major issue of our time. I wish you a very fruitful and interesting conference. Thank you very much.